I'm back. Rudrance for Black and White Network. Well, in the horror industry, in the horror community, and I used to run a horror website for about a decade, got to be pretty big at one point, maybe 300,000 views a month, something like that. Anyway, there was a genre, subgenre of horror called torture porn or fear porn, maybe. It was movies that had a lot of gore, Hostel 2, The Hills Have Eyes, these kind of like slasher flicks that turned it up a notch, you know. High Tension was another one. Some of them are really damn good. High Tension was great. But we've seen the media sort of run that same form of playbook along with leftist, democratic, socialist politicians when it's come to the coronavirus. And of course, their head director out there waving his hands around conducting, and they're all following like sheep, has been Dr. Anthony Fauci, right? But taking their cues from their conductor has been the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, to a lesser extent, Fox News, even though some personalities pushed back on mask mandates and vaccines from the very beginning, even though their network has required a vaccine this whole time. Just letting you know that. And I don't really give a rip whether or not you've decided to get a vaccine and 47 boosters. The point is, it's none of my business, and I just don't feel like anybody should be pushing that on to people, right? So enter MSNBC host, and I don't even know this lady's name. Don't care, frankly. But she comes out while talking about COVID because there's supposed to be some kind of a new variant that's sort of trending upwards, and John did a video on that maybe yesterday. And so that's supposed to be something that's on the radar, right? Supposed to get us all worked up, worked into a lather. Everybody rush out, get your boosters, yada, 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 yada. So she has this supposed expert on MSNBC, and from there she decides to attack her own damn children. Yeah, now keep in mind, I've talked about this before. I've seen this, especially on Twitter. I mean, Twitter and Facebook both to a point, to a lesser extent. I mean, I've got relatives that are lefties, and they're still scared of COVID, terrified of it. Now, I've seen some old people that are terrified of it, and a lot of that in large part is, let's be real, that's come from what they've seen on TV, the media, and politicians, Biden, right, out there pushing their narrative. But you've seen where they've talked about you should be locked up. I mean, other countries, what we've seen in China, where people were locked in apartments, had a fire, people died. It's scary. It's truly scary. And also the COVID thing also proved how quick people were willing to just roll over. Well, close everything up, lose your livelihood, shut down, roll over, and just follow whatever the government's got to say. Jesus, it is China. Jesus, think about that. Let's get to this, because this is nuts to me, because I'm going to give you a statistic to keep in mind after you hear what this woman's got to say. This is the Blaze. MSNBC commentator Katty K? Katty K. She certainly seems a little catty. Criticized her own children on air Thursday, condemning them for skipping additional COVID-19 vaccine booster shots. Speaking with Dr. Zeke Emanuel as a guest host on the, quote, Morning Joe, Kay admitted that she was, quote, shocked and appalled when her children, ages 22 and 16, informed her they would not be getting any additional COVID booster shots. Oh, let's just listen to this this frightening commentary here.
Pennsylvania, Dr. Zeke Emanuel. He is an NBC News and MSNBC senior medical contributor. Dr. Emanuel, thank you for joining us. You know, I listened to that, doctor, and you hear how tough it is inside hospitals at the moment, and the fears of new variants mixed with flu that is coming on. And you would think that the country would respond by saying, okay, we will make sure we are all up to date on all of our vaccines. But I had a strange conversation with my 22-year-old, my 16-year-old last night, and I said, okay, I booked you in for COVID updates. You're both back for the holidays. You're going to get your boosters. And both of them said, no, we don't want to. We've had enough vaccines and we don't think we need them. How can you, I was sort of shocked and appalled, but is this the kind of response you're seeing from young people at the moment, that they think this is over and they don't need any more vaccines?
Okay, so I don't give a rip what this supposed expert's going to say. That's neither here nor there. Wow, she was shocked and appalled. Shocked and appalled. At first, Dr. Emanuel appeared to share Kay's sentiment, observing that, quote, young people think they're invincible. Now, he did come out and say there are only two things that can really prevent transmission of the COVID virus. One is a good mask. Are you sure about that? An N95 mask. Okay, and wearing it, especially in crowded situations, airplanes and transportation, and the other is better indoor ventilation. I got to be real. I think long term there's nothing really to prevent anybody from getting it. It's just going to run its course through everybody over and over and over again. Unfortunately, we've gotten to a situation where neither of them seem to be a very high priority to reduce transmission, and I think that's where we're at. But Dr. Emanuel ultimately condemned people for placing too much emphasis on vaccines. Quote, putting every emphasis on vaccines is not going to solve this problem. Well, is it going to solve any problem? I mean, I'm just going to live my life, I guess, you know. Okay, so let's just go over here. I'll pull up WHO's website, and we'll take a look at the age range of her children now, okay, that she is shocked and appalled by. She's appalled by her own kids. Okay, that's great. Overall, there are proportionally fewer cases of and deaths from COVID-19 disease for children, adolescents, young adults than for older adults. To date, older adolescents and young adults, 15-24, exact range, by the way, she's talking about, represents 14.2% of global cases, just cases, people that got it. Okay? And 0.4% of global deaths. Let me read that again. 0.4% of global deaths. And this woman went on national TV, on MSNBC, and drowned her own kids for not wanting to get a booster vaccine. Again, oh my God, the shock and awe. That's absolutely, positively insane to me. It seems nuts. But they're running this narrative. By the way, you're going to see COVID get worse the closer we get to Biden getting ready to run for the presidency again. And whatever potential Democratic flunkies they're going to put out there that may run against him. Gavin Newsom looking right at you. You're going to see this get worse because they're going to start the fear porn back in towards the election, okay? They ran that game against Trump. They're going to run it again against him again. They truly are. And it's crazy. But yeah, I've seen this firsthand. Families infighting over COVID. People on Facebook going to war over COVID. People on Twitter calling for people to be locked up because they refuse to get the vaccine and to publicly have their vaccine like status where everybody can see it. Like they literally wanted people to walk into a store and they wanted to be able to tell who had the vaccine and who didn't. They wanted to be able to tell that. They wanted people to have to go shopping and such like at a different time based on like whether or not they had the vaccine booster, vaccines, whatever. Now, a lot of them are even not getting it. It's kind of hilarious. I mean, but they literally, I can remember one time we were making videos where they were talking about like armbands. Yeah, like those kind of armbands. Think back to the most heinous crimes in human history, and one of the things that happened involving Nazis and fucking armbands in our time, right? But that was something leftists wanted to have happen over just what this mainstream media outlet, this mainstream media host, the kind of fear porn they're running. And here we are with it, right? Crazy. Shocked and appalled by my own children over the damn booster. Really? I'm shocked and appalled by you. It's crazy. Lunatic. These people are nuts. But my other thing is, there's part of me that believes this is fake outrage from these people too. They know their audience, and they know their audience is still worked into a lather about COVID. Think about that a minute. It's amazing. It's amazing how differently people here in Texas and like in Florida think about this kind of thing. And I know 2 people that died from COVID, from Delta. But, they had medical issues outside of getting that disease. They were high risk. I'll give Bill Maher credit for this. He absolutely hates the COVID thing and all the things surrounding it. And he's talked about the fact that the CDC refuses to address the main issue that seems to be actually killing people, and that's the fact that people are fat when they get COVID. Obesity. Tell me what you think, Black and White Network supporters. I almost said Black and White Sports. I did. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Black and White Network supporters, make sure you go over and check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. 25% off USA First. 25% off USA First. Go now.